Do you know what this shower, this tire, and this pan have in common with your blood? They all have pressure. But Ibere, if my blood has pressure, does that mean my heart is about to explode? No, it's the pressure that makes your blood circulate, that makes the blood move inside you, and in this case, the heart is on the other side. Today you'll learn about blood pressure, arterial pressure, high blood pressure, and low blood pressure. And stay until the end, because we're going to build a heart using a straw and a balloon. I'm serious. Recently, the numbers for high blood pressure changed. You'd visit the clinic, have your blood pressure checked, 12/8, and leave happy and calm because it was normal. But now it's changed, and 12/8 is already considered pre-hypertension, which means almost high blood pressure. But what does that mean? What does it mean for me to have high blood pressure? Before anything else, we need to understand the path that blood takes inside our body. This is the circulatory system, the path blood takes inside you. If I were watching, I'd already give this video a thumbs up. This drawing is really cool. I'll start here. This is your lung. When you breathe, you take in oxygen. What does the lung use this oxygen for? Have you ever considered the lung's function? It delivers oxygen to your blood. It takes the oxygen from the air and delivers it to your blood. From the lung, this blood leaves and goes to your heart. The heart works like a pump. It pushes the blood. It makes the blood circulate. So this blood full of oxygen reaches the heart and is sent to your whole body. I drew it in red on purpose here because when blood has more oxygen, it becomes a brighter, stronger red. Once it leaves the heart, this oxygen-rich blood circulates throughout your body. And these little tubes that carry blood out of the heart, we always call them arteries. And for the arteries to reach every part of your body, they get thinner and thinner, spreading out like the roots of a tree. Until at the very end, when the artery is already really thin, but really thin, the blood delivers oxygen to your cells. Our body needs oxygen for the cells to function. At that moment, the cell pulls the blood aside and says, "Hey blood, since you're passing by here, give me that oxygen. Could you please take this carbon dioxide that I just used and don't know what to do with anymore? I need to get rid of the carbon dioxide." Yes, blood also does this. It delivers oxygen and collects carbon dioxide from cells. And it goes back to the heart. At this moment, the little tubes return to the heart. We no longer call them arteries, we call them veins. And it's the veins that are more visible here on the surface of our skin. If you cut yourself, you'll notice that your blood here is dark red. But if we look here, it looks kind of bluish, so I drew it in blue. This blood full of carbon dioxide will reach the heart once again and will be pumped back to the lungs. Since it's a tube leaving the heart, we call it an artery. When it reaches the lungs, what happens? Do you know? You release the carbon dioxide that came from your cells and you take in oxygen again and the cycle starts all over. This happens in our body all the time, 24 hours a day. It can't stop at all. That's why when someone has a cardiorespiratory arrest, in other words, when the heart stops, then oxygen and carbon dioxide stop exchanging, leaving cells desperate. It needs resuscitation, a cardiac massage, mouth-to-mouth breathing to force the circulatory system to work. The remaining question is, how does the heart pump blood and what is inside it? There's an Arduino controlling valves there, a piston that pushes our blood, made with a 3D printer. Now let's build the heart at home to understand. Cool experiment for the science fair, huh? Look, there are 3 glass jars. You can use any jar, but ideally the middle cup, the heart, should have a wider opening. I'll use 5 balloons, 3 thick straws, and red food coloring to represent blood. Don't use real blood. And electrical tape. The first thing I'm going to do is join 2 straws together with the electrical tape to form a kind of V here. Then both ends reach the bottom of each container. Next, I'm going to cut the necks off 2 balloons to make the heart valves. This part that I cut, I fold it inside and cover it with tape. So it's been patched up. And then I make a little hole here in the rubber. I'm going to fit the straw in. It can be a really tight hole so the straw fits snugly. And I push it all the way in. Look, the effect is really cool, right? The rubber is gripping the tip of the straw here. When I blow, the air pushes the rubber and it's fine, it manages to come out. If I suck, well, nothing comes out. It's impossible. So the flow inside here can go in one direction, but it can't come back. This is a valve. We do the same thing at the tip of the remaining straw. So I have an upside down V here, which has a valve, and I have a kind of L, which also has a valve. Now let's make the heart with the balloon that's left. I'm going to cut its neck one more time, but a little lower this time. I need to have a narrower part here, okay? And what am I going to do? 2 little holes at the top so we can put the straws through. Make them really small so they fit tightly. You can barely see the holes. In one of those holes, I'll already put that upside down V through. This valve will stay inside the container, which will be the heart. I'll position it here so I can close the container with the balloon. I'll tape the balloon tightly to the container's mouth, okay? Now we have that upside down V here. And in the other little hole, which this time I made really small, I'm adding the other straw, but the valve is outside, okay? Let's fit it in. That's it, we have a heart. Recapping, an upside down V with a valve at the tip, and here an L with a valve at the tip as well. All of this is sealed, okay? The middle jar is completely closed, so let's put blood into the system. Some red dye and water. It's the moment of truth. Let's see if we can bring this heart to life. For that, I'm going to squeeze this balloon. That's exactly what our heart does, it squeezes. Because of the valves, the fluid, blood, or in this case red water, can only flow one way. So, the only way the water can move here is by going from this container to this one and from this one to this one. The valves prevent anything else from happening. When I press, air comes out here and water tries to enter here. Oh, look at that, how nice. Look, the blood is coming into the heart. Of course, it will work better when the heart fills with blood. But my pumping has already started working. Look, the blood is coming. Look, the circulation. Just by squeezing the heart like this, I'm able to make the water move from this container to this one. And that's how our circulation works. That's how the heart is able to make the blood travel throughout our entire body. It keeps squeezing, and when it squeezes, it pushes the blood to the rest of the body. When it relaxes, it takes in the blood that's coming from the other direction. If you're going to do this at a science fair, at school, bring plenty of balloons. Because they tear, the valve doesn't work properly, you have to replace it. It's good to have spares, okay? But the important thing is that you understand that the heart works by squeezing the blood and releasing it. When it squeezes, blood leaves. When it releases, blood enters. But, Ibere, the way you're saying it, it sounds like my heart is just a muscle full of valves that's only there to pump blood. Yeah, actually that's exactly what the heart is. In fact, that little sound we hear, the thump thump, is the heart valves closing. And just a reminder, it's further left. Everything's great, but what do high blood pressure and low blood pressure have to do with this? Before I tell you that, I just need to confess something. This here is kind of like a heart, okay? Looking at the drawing here, you notice that the heart pushes blood out on one side, but it also pushes it out on the other side. So it's like 2 pumps in one. 2 of those setups I made at the same time. The blood pressure then is the force the heart uses to push the blood into the arteries. That's why it's called arterial pressure. I admit I feel bad about erasing this cute drawing. When we say our blood pressure is 120/80, that higher number is the pressure the heart makes when it squeezes the blood. It pushes the blood forward. And the 80 is the pressure that's still in our blood when the heart relaxes. So these are the maximum and minimum blood pressures when considering our artificial heart. It would be like this. 12/8, 12/8, 12/8. But where do 12 and 8 come from, right? Where did they get these numbers? Even the official ones, if we wrote the correct ones. It's 120/80 millimeters of mercury. This mercury is mercury on the periodic table. This millimeter of mercury is actually a unit of pressure. It's the pressure. It's the force that a column of mercury would exert on something if we placed it somewhere. For example, if you had a glass with 120 millimeters of mercury in height, if you filled a glass with 120 millimeters of mercury, it's the force and pressure the mercury exerts at the glass bottom. Weird, but it makes sense. When people started measuring pressure, there wasn't this cute little device here with this manometer, with this modern pressure gauge. What they used was a kind of tube filled with mercury, the same mercury, that toxic metal. All graduated here, kind of like a thermometer like we have today, which varied according to the pressure, and then you would know the person's pressure by the millimeters of mercury. This millimeters of mercury measurement is used for other pressures, like atmospheric pressure. Because back in the 1600s, in the 17th century, an Italian physicist named Evangelista Torricelli managed to measure atmospheric pressure, exactly like that. By turning a tube of mercury upside down and placing it here, look, in a basin full of mercury, the atmospheric pressure wouldn't let the mercury leave the glass, which was turned upside down. His tube was really big and he managed to mark it. Here it's about 760 millimeters of mercury, right? There was a tower here with 760 millimeters of mercury, which is standard atmospheric pressure. The pressure air exerts on us. So the same unit is used to measure air pressure and our blood pressure. But we couldn't make this video without using this equipment, which I stole from Mari at home. Today, which is the sphygmomanometer, it took me a while to memorize that. That name, sphygmo, in Greek means pulse, and manometer is this equipment that measures pressure. It's hard to do alone, especially if you don't know how to use it. Wait, something's wrong. Will this work? What's the logic behind this thing? As I squeeze, I'm injecting air in here. There's a valve here, like the one we made, that only lets air in, not out. There's also a small tap to release air. So this keeps squeezing my arm more and more, putting pressure around my arm. There will come a point when this pressure is greater than the pressure of my blood. And then my blood can't get through there anymore. The heart can't overcome that pressure anymore. When I release the air here, this little pointer will start to go down. It goes down smoothly, very steadily, until it gets to a point where it makes a little stop. When it makes that little stop, it's my heart overcoming the air pressure here a bit. So that's what it's going to do. When it does that, that's the highest pressure. That's that 12 right there. Let's see if it will reach 12. And then it keeps making those little stops like that. When it makes the last stop, that's the lowest pressure. Then it fully deflates. Let's see this in action. My arm is already hurting here. Hold on. I'm letting the air out. You can see that it's going down smoothly, going down smoothly. There will come a time when it makes a little stop. A stop. Look, it stopped at 12. The last stop is the lowest pressure. From my rough reading here, it came out to something like 12/7 or 120/70 millimeters of mercury. Many healthcare professionals might say, I didn't take the blood pressure correctly, but this is just to show how it works. But of course, there is also, right, the sphygmomanometer for newbies. Those who can't measure, like me. So it's totally digital. You buy it ready to use, turn the thing on, and it's not on this side. In this case, Bia's telling me I'm putting it on backwards. There's a drawing here. That's right, Bia. You have to do it this way. It had to be like this. Maybe I should have put the right arm here on the other one too. Let's go. It's going to fill up. And then the pressure drops to 13/9. It's not high. Bia, our scriptwriter, is letting us know from behind the camera that it's not right. Measuring while standing has a correct position and all. It's a very sensitive measurement. Let's see if by improving my position, maybe this result will get better too, right? That's it. Fancy, like that nursing room, right? Let's measure at heart level. It got worse. 14/9. Anyway, right, but to be really honest with you, I don't really know how to measure this properly. I'm just doing this here to show you how this works, but there are details. There is a correct position. There are a bunch of cool things you can do when you're taking a more accurate measurement, like listening to the sound of the heart while you're measuring. But if I actually have high blood pressure, what's the problem with high blood pressure? Its other name is hypertension. You must have heard about it too. It means that your heart is working really hard, and the blood is pushing against the walls of your blood vessels, your arteries and veins, harder than it should. What's going to happen to your arteries, the walls of them, the little tube there, is that they'll try to reinforce themselves. The little muscles around them will try to get stronger to withstand that pressure. And then the space for the blood to pass through gets smaller. This, as you might have guessed, isn't good for anything. It increases your risk of having a stroke, which is the well-known brain attack. It increases your risk of having a heart attack and raises the risk of a number of other diseases. There's also the opposite issue, low blood pressure. If your blood doesn't circulate with enough force, you might feel dizzy, faint, or have trouble concentrating, since your body needs adequate pressure to deliver oxygen and remove carbon dioxide everywhere. And then your kidneys also don't work properly because the blood needs pressure to pass through and be filtered. The heart will also try to beat faster to increase this pressure. To sum up, both high blood pressure and low blood pressure are signs that something isn't right, so it's worth looking into it. Why did doctors change the number? 12/8 was once normal, but now it's considered borderline. That's already considered pre-hypertension. It's so we can start taking care of ourselves a little earlier so people can start exercising. Eat less salt, have a healthier diet so you don't reach a higher level of hypertension, which is a more serious problem. That's the reason, nothing else. But in this video, did you learn in a different way how the heart works, how blood circulates in the body, what blood pressure is? You could share this video with someone. Relatives like your aunt, father, or grandmother who always complain about high or low blood pressure should visit the doctor for a checkup. But maybe they don't know exactly what that means. If you've watched this far, you're probably someone who likes to take care of your health. So, I recommend that you watch the video where Mari explained how to act quickly in case of a heart attack. It's from the series she made about what to do in critical situations.